If you work as a manufacturing facilities engineer, installing a new piece of equipment can be as complex as the machinery itself. From prep work to alignment and testing, it's your team's job to put it all together. That's why it's good to have Grainger on your side. With industrial-grade products and next-day delivery, Grainger helps ensure you have everything you need close at hand through every step of the installation. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, shh. Calm down. The show is about to start.
Reese on the radio.
Turn it up. Turn it up low. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Turn on your radio. Reese is on the radio.
Yo, let's get it.
Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the radio. Right now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Monday you can fall apart. Tuesday, Wednesday, break my heart. Thursday doesn't even start. It's Friday, I'm in love.
Oh, look at that. Little bit of The Cure. Robert Smith. One of my favorite songs growing up as a teenager. It is Friday. And I couldn't be happier and in love. Even though we're going to be online for part of the day, that's okay. You can still call up at 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. It's Reese on the Radio, the Reese on the Radio program. I think I just heard John Vila say that the Red Sox were losing, but only by a score of 2-1, right? Yeah. So, I don't know. They could change around. I've got a feeling about the Red Sox this year. I've got a feeling. Let me just say this, okay? Whenever Reese on the Radio arrives in New England, whenever I arrive in New England, a championship is won. It's just, I don't know how. I don't know why. It's usually when I start. I'm just saying, it's quite likely that as soon as I get into town, perhaps this could be the year. I don't know. They got a long time. Yes, I will. I will definitely talk about that, Truth Freeze. Thank you in the chat room. We'll get into that a little bit. You all had some homework. We're going to talk about that today with Mrs. on the Radio. Rozan will be here, and we'll talk to her for Ladies' Night about that. And another pressing issue that's happening in the school system. I don't know if you've heard about this, but there is a degree of very suspicious activity happening in the school system. And I talked to a father today. His name is Mike. We had a conversation today about a school board meeting. Hopefully, mothers, even fathers or parents altogether, will call up the program today roughly around 4:45, 5 o'clock, in the 5 o'clock hour when Rozan is here. She's doing all the research now. Let me give you a little breakdown of this before we get into the opening monologue. So apparently there was a syllabus given to the kids at this school, 15 and 16-year-olds. They were given a group of videos that they could watch. They had to choose 3 videos to watch and to write an essay about. All of these pertaining to the LGBTQIA plus movement, group, I don't know, whatever they're called, but was dedicated to that. And a lot of the parents saw this and thought or felt something creepy about what their children were asked to participate in. So before we even talk about it, we wanted to take some time to actually watch these videos that they were asking children to watch. We would have just watched them anyway, but this parent told me something that made me want to watch them more. Of course, I gave those duties to my wife because I got a show to prepare for, but nonetheless, the reason why I chose, or the reason I decided to look into the videos, was because according to this parent, the librarian took them down once parents complained. Now, you know how the old saying goes, if there's nothing to see here, there's nothing to see here. If it's all on the up, and if it's all kosher, there's nothing to take down or to rethink, retool. If everything is on the up and up. Now, I would go so far as to say, maybe they didn't think it would be offensive. Maybe they made a mistake. No. This is different. This is different. What we are learning, and folks, you know it. They won't tell you this. They won't admit it. Because they keep using words like acceptance. But the truth is, these people are trying to seduce your children. Let's just say it. There are dark forces that wish to seduce these kids. Because this has nothing to do with identity. This has something to do with something that's far more sacred to all of us. You think about this. This is something that is sacred and pure to all of us, and very private, I might add. Very private. I want you to think about this in this regard. You're a married couple, regardless of your orientation, gay, straight, whatever. But normal person, you have a relationship. Be it lover, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it is. But you have a relationship. And your relationship has certain levels of excitability. We'll use that term. It's a family show. Every one of you know that whatever that thing is, it would rather be kept private, personal, in your bedroom, wherever you two, or whatever, may dwell. It is personal, very, very sacred to you. However it makes you feel, whatever you engage in. Again, this is not me judging, but it's yours. It's private. It always is. These are private things. Now, I want you to think about whatever that is. And now ask yourself, if you want that to be a discussion with your child, with a teacher, administrator, librarian, guidance counselor, those things, because that's what's being talked about. Being LGBTQIA is not about whether or not you have 82 piercings in your face. It's got nothing to do with it. It's got nothing to do with wanting to wear a dress. Doesn't. Or the big bulky shoes that make you 7 feet tall. Or to wear a wig, or to wear glitter. Or to say, hey girl, whenever you feel like it. Has nothing to do with that. All of those things are about sexual orientation. It's the key word there. It is sexual in nature. So they are having a conversation with you about Acceptance. That's what these teachers and administrators are talking about. Acceptance. Accept these people's sexual orientations. Now, let's say your kid is just a regular kid, has had no interest or involvement in any of those things. Just goes to school, does their homework, loves their video games, plays with their friends. Now they're being told in school, I need you to read this material so that you can understand Alana's sexual orientation. What she does in the privacy of her own life, bedroom, wherever. I need you to watch videos about her lifestyle so that you can accept her private dealings. Think about that, folks. That's what this is. Don't let them tell you otherwise. They will tell you that it's about whether or not Alana walks around wearing froofy colors with butterfly wings on her back, with a little wand in her head, floating around, telling everybody that they're a fairy. That's not what this is about. They'll tell you that, but it isn't. It isn't about what kids do as kids. This is about something far darker and nefarious. This is about getting into the sexual mind of a person who has none. Why would a 15-year-old even have this? Even if they do, this is a very awkward time for them. Kids growing up, hell, I remember when I was 15. Awkward, weird, scary. Everybody's afraid at that age. And it's true. A lot of teenage kids don't know who to go to. They don't have conversations with anyone about these things. And there's a lot of parents out there who would never want them to. Hey, Timmy, if anything's going on, I want you to be able to come to me. Or the wife says to the husband, hey, do you think it's time to have that conversation with Timmy about, the birds and bees? And the dad's going, oh, really? We got to have that conversation? Dads are afraid of that. Oh, man, and if the dad's got a daughter and somebody's got to have that talk, mom's probably more prepared for that than the dads are. I'm just saying, I know that as a guy. Guys, we're a little weird about it. It's like, I got to have that conversation. I don't know. Mom's probably a little, I'll give it to, I got to give it to moms. Let me, if I may, some artificial applause here. I know some people hate it. I don't care. I'm going to play it anyway. I give it to the moms because the moms have far more guts on this subject than men do, than dads do. They just do. How many dads out there got daughters when they found out, the cycle happened, How many fathers ran for the hills? I want no parts of that. I didn't. Lord, no. Nope. Want no parts of that. And you couldn't even say, you couldn't even say the word, the thing. I can't say it. I won't say the word. I can't even say it now. Don't say it. Don't say it. You're going to say it, aren't you?
I've had those talks with my daughter.
You had to talk with her? Please. Okay, you know what? You're a perfect example of this, and I can make my point through you. So, was there any level of like concern, fear, apprehension, and how old was she?
It just started this year.
Okay,
she became a freshman going into high school.
Okay.
So I wanted to prepare her for what could be happening and what some of her friends may be doing.
Exactly. Right.
And also find out, honestly, she's not going to get in trouble, but let me know what you're doing so I can teach you, make sure you
are prepared.
You're not, if you're not going to listen, you're not going to listen.
Right.
But if you are going to listen, then you need not be doing none of that stuff right now.
Gotcha.
So
yes, truth. The word you're talking about. Go ahead.
Yeah. That's what a lot of people don't want to admit to themselves, that no matter how good your kid is, that don't mean that they
Exactly.
may not be promiscuous or whatever.
And
the case may
but
be.
your did you have a level of, if you had to describe your level of apprehension talking to your daughter, and this is your only child, what was your level? 10 being the worst, 1 being fine.
I was definitely a 1 because
really,
her whole life I just been telling her the truth.
Okay, so
not sugarcoating nothing.
Gotcha.
I'm just a straightforward person when it comes to like teaching and stuff. So
okay, so you had no fear.
No, I didn't.
Listen, I give you props for that. I cannot.
I don't know all the terminology. That's
Right.
where her mom came in to say to help me as far as like dealing with the cycle and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But,
See, cycle, that's a good word. I don't like the other word, the actual, the P word.
Yeah,
I don't like that word.
Yeah, so
I can't say it.
So, some questions I can't answer.
Right, of course. But see, no, I know guys like when you got to talk to the boys, you kind of feel silly. Like when you're just like, you got to tell the boys, like, hey, so.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
You get any girls you like? It's like, how do you approach this conversation? So I'm always crazy in that. I remember Ethan and Ayla, and they were around that age, and I'm just like, I'm worried about her becoming a woman. She's developing, and I'm sort of like, my deal is like, and then she likes boys, and then she's putting posters on the wall. She came in at the perfect time. She turned into a teenager right at the point where every R&B singer and rapper was doing posters with no shirt on. Okay?
Yeah.
That's like everybody she knew. So she was right at the point when, DMX, Usher, and Ja Rule were a thing. And every poster they had was with them glistening with no shirt on. And she was putting these posters up there, and I'm just like, oh, crap. She likes, bandana wearing, jeans sagging, hip-hop stars. It makes you nuts because you're like, that is an attraction that they have, and that you're scared because how am I supposed to say to your daughter, hey, what's going on with you? And I immediately, as a dad, just went, okay, you know what, Claudia, you got to talk to her. Like it's clear that she likes boys. Maybe we should prepare her. I don't know what kind of conversation, but I don't want to be too late and I don't want to be too soon. So what do we do?
Yeah, the llast thing you want is her to already be pregnant.
Exactly. So
and then there's nothing you could do at that point.
Exactly. So I'm scared to death. So I'm just frightened, and I know that there are a lot of fathers out there. But anyway, I brought all that up, folks, and to think about that and put that in perspective. Now, without your knowledge, school administrators want to have a conversation with your child about the LGBTQIA plus community and what they do in a private way. You're just trying to deal with the human body with your child. Basic biology with your child. And that may be difficult, and obviously easier for Roland, but even in that conversation, hell, I'll ask you, Roland, it was so easy for you to talk to your daughter. Considering your conversation with her, would you like the conversation you had with your daughter to be had with an administrator?
Absolutely not.
Okay, that's my point. That is a conversation that must be had with the parents. Now, true, are there parents who are clearly unengaged? I don't think that's a reason or a recipe to say, well, the hell with all of them. But that's where this problem lies. And these parents who looked at this, who saw this happening, many people may have looked at them and said, oh, you're just bigots. Oh, you just don't understand these people. My response to that would be, and what makes you think that you understand my child. You don't know anything about my child. You don't know anything about what my child is going through. You don't know what I've taught my child, what my child is learning at home. You have no idea, nor did you even bother to ask. You didn't even consent. Didn't even ask for my consent. So what would make them think that they should have some sort of authority? And their moral authority here is because any pushback is bigotry. That's it. Not concern, not apprehension, not worry, I guess, which is the same thing, or at least thinking of those parents in something that crucial to their livelihood. Now, you think about this, and I'll tell you exactly where these parents have the right and these administrators don't. They tell you that if you do not affirm the sexuality of these kids who are in the LGBTQIA plus groups, if you do not affirm them, they will harm themselves. That's what they tell you, that these people are fragile, and if you do not affirm them, you will harm them. Well, if we're really concerned, why is there a lack of concern for children outside of those groups? Why isn't there any concern for kids who are not in the LGBTQIA plus groups? Are they not susceptible to self-harm? We know that's bogus. We've seen stories of little girls who don't think they're pretty enough, who have taken their own life. We have seen stories of little girls who are not liked by the boy of their dreams, who have harmed themselves, have resorted to cutting, bulimia, anorexia. I've never seen a anorexic LGBTQIA plus person, but whatever, that's another thing. And let's go one step further. And this one I saw online and I thought it was brilliant. Why is it that these parents, no, not these parents, sorry, these administrators, why is it that these school officials and these politicians who are fighting for the LGBTQ community, because it is a growing number of our society, they keep telling us. But you know what I never hear them asking? Why is this behavior not growing in the inner city? Why are there not a large number of LGBTQIA plus children roaming through black and brown communities? Why isn't there a growing, sentiment inside those communities? Why are they growing inside suburbs and other communities outside of the black and brown ones? No one seems to know. No one seems to care either. It's funny how the black kids aren't susceptible to this, but here we are. Look at the numbers. Go look yourself. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about this. I've got some other news and views. I didn't do my monologue because I got caught up in this. Hopefully, we're going to get some phone calls from some parents who were at this school board meeting. We'll talk to them about what they saw, what their concerns are. But when we get back, we're going to talk about this meme coin thing that happened yesterday that everyone was up in arms about, even our very own Chris Murphy. I found something interesting in the New York Times. We'll talk about that as well. And if you've got something to say about the opening monologue, please do. Give us a call at 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. Now let's get to John Silva with some news in the BPS newsroom.
Reese on the radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC, News Talk 1080.
All right, we're back. It's News Talk 1080 WTIC. It's Reese on the radio. Plenty of comments inside the chat room on this subject, and I appreciate them. UN feels that they have the authority to demand the rights for children, i.e. sexual reproduction and sexual orientation against parental consent. Yeah, that's kind of the idea, which is weird because I have this idea in my head, and I know that it's far-fetched, but I really do believe it. And this promotion of same-sex, intersex, whatever the case may be, puberty blockers and mutilation, all that stuff, doing it to a generation to stop reproduction, to end it, to slow down population growth. Like in one breath, I always hear them saying, this is to affirm children who don't feel comfortable in their bodies. But something about that makes no sense because the logic is crazy. The science is even crazier. We find out that some of these transformations, if you will, are not successful. Many of these people spend the rest of their lives in post-surgery. They have complications and also end up committing suicide because they perform this irreversible act on their bodies. So now they're trapped in this, island of Dr. Moreau craziness that they put themselves in. And they're depressed. And, of course, that leads to more depression, alcoholism or drug use, and then, of course, suicide thereafter. And no one seems to care. But this affirmation, there is no study that says that this is good for the people who have it or who go through it. It's always bad. Rozan, you said something right before you left the office a minute ago. Let me put your microphone on.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
If you can, yeah. See if you can. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
really good there? Okay, move your microphone up. You just said something in one of the videos that I thought was interesting into this conversation. You said that there was a percentage of children under 21. What was the age that you said?
Under 21, between 12 and 17 predominantly.
Okay, between the ages of 12 and 17, members of the LGBTQIA plus group. What was the statistic?
47% of LGBTQIA plus under the age of 21 use alcohol, marijuana, and illicit drugs.
Okay. Now, the reason why you brought this up to me, the earlier point you were saying was, one of the videos that you watched that's a part of this Granby Memorial High School sort of curriculum, one of the videos they asked you to watch, or they asked these kids to watch, was about the LGBTQIA plus homeless problem, or people who are homeless.
Youth.
Okay, homeless youth.
Correct.
Okay. And in that, the person in the video is suggesting the reason why they are without a home is because they were moved from their family or moved from their home because of their LGBTQIA status.
In the video, the main gentleman is speaking and saying that a majority of these children feel unsafe and or threatened and are forced out of their homes by their parents after coming out of the closet.
Right. And the statistic behind that you found out that doesn't seem to play any part of this is...
They're completely ignoring, pretending it's not even there, is that 47% of youth between 12 and 17 who identify as LGBTQIA+, LMNOP, they are engaging in behaviors that most parents would not tolerate.
Right.
If my 12 to 17-year-old was behaving and living in recovery, I understand what we call the isms, right? The poor behavior, the bad decision-making, the selfishness, the self-centeredness, the self-destructiveness, the destruction of the family unit. Like, my behaviors actively play a part in disrupting the entire home.
Right.
So between the ages of 12 and 17, if you identify as LGBTQ whatever, 47% of them are utilizing alcohol and illicit drugs. So between 12 and 17, if you're being asked to leave your home, is it because you're gay or is it because of your bad behavior? But that is a statistic that they fail to mention. Well, here's where it gets even better. There are 500,000 homeless youth in America. 40% of them identify as LGBTQ+. 47% of all the 1.9% LGBTQ youth in this country, 47% of them are using...
You're off the microphone.
Sorry. 47% of them are using illegal drugs and alcohol. It just seems like the numbers add up that you're not being asked to leave home necessarily because you're identifying differently. You're probably being asked to, and maybe not asked, but...
made to leave.
Correct. Because of your disruptive behavior.
Right. I don't know any parent that's going to accept a drug-using or alcohol-abusing child in the home when you know that if that child cannot subsidize their own addiction, it leads to theft and other destruction within the home.
It's not only about subsidizing their addiction. It's the behavior that goes along with being an addict.
I understand that, but I'm saying that, again, there is a behavior that goes along with it. But remember, how does a 13-year-old subsidize a marijuana habit?
Right. Mommy and daddy are paying for your entire life. The least you can do is follow the rules. Absolutely.
It's interesting. Okay, let's go back to the chat room because I know that everybody is in here. Let me see. Lori says, it's a big moneymaker for the healthcare industry. And once they start transitioning, the transitions are irreversible. And they are in constant care with the physical transformation and mental illness, gender dysphoria, and complicated further.
Dependent on drugs.
That's right. In the UK, they found that those who had done the entire transition were just as unhappy, if not more, as before they transformed. Wow. White Mike says transgenders unalive themselves at a 46% rate.
If you don't mind, I'd like to step in right there. And this is the reason why. Menopause and andropause. Menopause is what everybody knows what that is, right? Women go through it. What is a lot less discussed is andropause. That is when a man goes through his version of the hormonal shift where you lose testosterone at a higher rate.
Okay.
What you're seeing in andropause and menopause, adults, is an increase in depression, increase in anxiety, a loss of fervor for life, if you will. There's just this severe dip, this severe change in your body's natural hormones. Hormones that your body, your organs, your brain require in order to keep itself alive, right?
Mm-hmm.
These aren't questionable things. These aren't assigned things. Your body genetically requires these self-made chemicals in order for you to function, right? So when you go through andropause and menopause as an adult, we see an increase in depression, anxiety, and other...
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Behavioral health issues, right? So what happens when you force a child into menopause and andropause?
Are you forcing them into that when you give
them
these?
That is what a gender blocker is.
Okay, so so these puberty blockers, if you will, these things are...
It is literally causing andropause and menopause. It is causing the hormones that are going to promote your body's development, be it male or female, the production of your thyroid glands, your lungs, your brain, everything.
Okay, now you're literally like my brain's going now because, of course, when they give this the castration medication to boys who want to transform into girls, it's like a complete rush of estrogen that is put into the body. Am I wrong here?
It's not just a rush of estrogen. I'm not certain how that part works, but I do know that it's forcing andropause.
Okay.
It is killing the testosterone.
Right.
And testosterone doesn't deal with just genitalia.
Right.
Testosterone deals with the male brain. The male brain requires testosterone the same way every human being requires oxygen, the same way a plant needs the sunlight. Right. The male brain requires testosterone. The female brain requires estrogen, regardless of age.
And if you're depleting
when those are taken away, the brain doesn't develop properly. Never mind the rest of the body. The brain is chemically destroyed.
Wow.
This is science. This isn't an opinion. This isn't, ask any woman who's been through menopause. Ask any man who's struggling with low T. Now imagine putting a child through that while they're trying to go to school, being bullied or feeling uncomfortable about their bodies, or the boy doesn't like me, the girl doesn't. What are we doing here?
Yeah. Well, no, okay. Why Mike is saying is like, no, the suicide rate doesn't change whether the hormones are changed or not. They are mentally ill. No one's denying their mental illness from the get-go. But I'll put it this way. And I think I can say this having, I remember my childhood really well. And I think the reason why I remember my childhood very well is because sometimes I still act like a child in some ways. But the one thing that I knew in my childhood was that I was often confused about my childhood, right? I didn't know a lot of things, and I didn't know whether or not I fit in, what was wrong with me. Right. There are a whole bunch of things that you have to navigate through in life.
There are things that we went through as teenagers that are normal. Like, yes. I thought that my body was different because I had this weird, hump in my pelvic region. I didn't know that that's the symphysis pubic. It's normal. It's supposed to be there. But I thought I was abnormal. Right. So I would, kind of hide it.
Right. I had problems with me being incredibly skinny when I was a kid.
Same.
And I thought, that skinniness, it was like, I can't gain weight.
We had AIDS.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I was like, do I have AIDS? Like, what? It was weird. But that, again, in the minds of a child, right?
Everything is weird.
Everything is weird. But again, it's the level of which a child has to navigate through that, right? So if you're a child and you're navigating through that, some kids are going to either get guidance or muster through it, right? They get over the growing pains, they get over the awkward stage, and they blossom, or they don't, but they eventually do. Other children, not so lucky.
Well, what I recognize about my childhood that is so different from today, we played outside a lot, right?
Yeah.
Now, that's not just about the physical activity. That's about the social interaction that we had with one another. My friends had older siblings, older brothers, older sisters. So we learned about things, not necessarily from our parents and probably not 100% accurate information, but we got a lot of our information from the older kids who could tell us things that maybe we weren't comfortable learning from our parents. We didn't have the interwebs. We weren't looking things up on Pornhub. We had to communicate with other people.
Yeah.
And maybe it was misinformation, but that's how boys learned how to be boys.
Yeah.
That's how girls learn how to be girls. And I'm not talking about gender roles.
Right.
I'm not talking about she's a girl, she cooks and cleans. He's a boy, he goes out and gets a job. I'm talking about I've got this weird thing going on under my arm. What is this? Oh, you're getting an armpit hair. You're beginning puberty. You know what I mean? These are things that we learn naturally that these kids aren't getting because they're on their freaking computers all the time.
This is true. Yes, they live in a very isolated world. And when you're that isolated world, that fly on me. When you're living in that kind of an isolated world where, you can either look things up online, and you don't have your peer group sort of helping you or helping you navigate through life. You're going to try to figure out these things on your own. And when you got the wild, wild west of the internet,
right,
you may be more than likely
susceptible
to these
alternative
ideas. Right.
Well, the other thing I want to point out is how many times have you, as an adult, been stuck in the chasm of your own crazy mind?
I have all the time.
Where it's telling you all of these things that there's no evidence to substantiate what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling, but I've been playing with it in my head for so long.
I'll start to believe it.
It is real, and it is enormous.
I say that all the time. I talk about that here on the air. Like when we had the conversation last Friday about going to
that fly's killing me. I'm sorry.
Going to dinner with gosh, why am I forgetting his name?
Wow.
Oh my goodness, Jerry. Yes, sorry, thank you. I was about to say Jeff.
Old-timers
going to dinner. Yeah, I'm having old timers. Going to dinner with Jerry. Remember, as soon as you brought up, it's like, hey, did I talk too much?
I made you self-conscious.
Yeah, exactly.
But because I planted that seed of doubt, And that's all it takes is a seed, right? So you plant this ridiculous seed in the mind of a child who has no social network, who has no peer interaction.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're playing with this thing inside their head. And you know what? There's this video that I saw on the interwebs that said something that I thought was interesting. Let me go ahead and check it out. And now every single thing that and this is the most insidious part. If I look something up on Google, which I've done away with, if I look something up on Google, on my phone, on my computer, on my iPad, it shows up everywhere now. It is in every single, what do they call that?
Algorithm.
It's on everything. My TikTok, my Instagram, my Facebook, everything. I start to see that thing all the time. So when I start to see that thing all the time because I mentioned it one time or I looked it up one time, it is the only thing. It becomes true.
Yeah. That's interesting. People do not understand, and I shouldn't say that. I think they fully understand that inviting these ideas into these children was the point all along. It's also the reason why they didn't want the parents' consent.
Right. And I want to say this. I mentioned this to you during the commercial break, and it's worth saying on air. If I can't talk about it at work, why would I want an adult talking to my child about it away from me? I can't walk up to Jim at the water cooler and be like, hey, so P or V, which one are you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I would HR write up. I'd be, sensitivity classes. I could get fired. So why do I want some adult, male, female, whatever, talking to my child about his or her sexuality?
In this case, they want a librarian to do it.
Okay, my brain totally went somewhere else because there's a lot of videos on the web about librarians.
No, I mean, look.
They're trying to take an innocuous, sort of what they would consider a safe entity. Well, they don't really see the children that often, right?
Right.
And they're trying to make that person the go-to. If you don't see the librarian very often, a lot of parents aren't going to question what's the librarian saying and doing because they see the librarian once a week. It's insidious. They start small, what is this, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, and then by high school.
Well, this particular one, this is like 15 and 16-year-olds. But even then, I
still don't want anybody talking to my kid about sexuality.
Yeah, I think even at that age, these are 10th graders.
That is up to his father, and it is up to you. I love my son. I really do. I don't need to know about that part of his life. I don't. Are you doing it? You are. Sweet. Let's have a conversation about safety and respect for yourself and the other person.
You were completely like, I don't even know.
I was disgusted. I was like, literally.
Yeah.
But it's a conversation. Like, he has to know that there are parameters within which he can come to me and I'm comfortable with, and there are parameters within with you and his father where he can say, hey,
this is going
different conversation. But you are the men in his life that know him.
Yeah.
I don't need some rando walking up to my kid talking about, hey, man, look at this.
Yeah, check out this video.
That, I believe, is called grooming and pedophilia. It's a crime.
Again, like I said, I was talking to this father who had brought this to my attention about what's going on at Granby Memorial. And I said to him, I believe that in Connecticut, and I'm sure it's in other places too, but in Connecticut, I think Connecticut's got a pedophilia problem.
It's not just Connecticut.
I know. Well, that's what I just said. I mean, I don't think it's just Connecticut, but I think it does. I think that this is, and when I say it has a problem, right? And I'm not talking about
it's an open secret.
Yeah, it's an open, accepted behavior, or they are trying to normalize it in the state of Connecticut.
I just want to point out in Greece, and in ancient Greece and ancient Rome, even in the Middle East, boys are for pleasure, girls are for reproduction.
Damn.
So, I mean, if you start to see, it's not new, right? Like, this isn't new
So
behavior.
many people I know who have served overseas. I don't want to say any countries, but you know where they are to begin with the letter A.
They end with a Stan.
But they've served over there, and on many occasions, I spoke to. I'll never forget it. I had a long conversation with a ranger that was in Afghanistan, and I remember, there were plenty of cases where they had to keep these guys off little boys.
I was a medic, and we had stories of having to surgically repair little boys.
Damn.
So this isn't something that's new, right? It's pervasive, and it's just now coming out.
Yeah. We got to get to our first look at weather, traffic, and we've also got the news. John Silva has got news for you. Jason Caterina's got weather, and Mark Christopher has got our first check of traffic in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, man.
It's Reese on the radio. And don't say we didn't warn you on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
That's right. It's ladies' night here on Reese on the radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC. Rozan on the radio is hanging out with us today. I brought her in early just because I didn't know that this conversation was good. There was so much good stuff out of that, and I want to give you props real quick if I could, Rozan. That was a talk about a dissertation, if you will, of all of that. So much stuff that I learned in that. I'm listening to you, and I'm just going, gosh, I knew nothing about all of this stuff. I really did marry a smart lady. I'm lucky. I'm I was like, gosh, she's like smart. It's like I've been with you 4 years, and I didn't know that you knew all of this stuff. And like I'm learning every day how much stuff you learn. I may have to actually hang out with you a little more.
It could,
could be beneficial.
I have
right?
to let my boyfriends know, all the other suitors,
Yeah, right. We'll talk a little bit more about that when. For I think the 4:30 hour, maybe in a little bit more than a half an hour, we'll talk a little more about this and about the video because we got to get into this curriculum that they asked for as well.
The rubric.
The rubric, that's what it's called.
Yeah.
We need to get into that a little bit as well. I never got to the opening monologue, and that was about the this dinner that Chris Murphy was arguing about. And saying that all of these rich, wealthy people were going to be there, and Donald Trump is enriching himself and all of this nonsense. The interesting thing is, the New York Times showed up at this event, and they were outside of it, and they were taking pictures of the protesters who were outside, even getting pictures of people who were showing up. They even listed some of the rich people that showed up. And I found something odd in all of this. I want to talk about this in a little bit when we come back, because I'm hearing a lot of outrage about transparency, but no outrage about clandestine and kept quiet and secret deals. No talk of that. I'm being told nothing burger on things that are happening behind the scenes and behind people's backs. But the stuff that's being done right in front of everyone is the controversy. I'll break that down in a little bit because I think people have forgotten. Let's get another check of the weather and traffic with Jason Caterina and Mark Christopher at the BPS Traffic Center.
It's Reese on the radio. Ask your doctor if common sense is right for you. On News Talk 1080 WTIC.
I think I'm going to keep that lighting just the way it is on you. You look fantastic there.
It's because I'm not wearing any makeup today.
Oh, that's good. That works. Anyway, we're back. It's Reese on the radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. Okay, so I found this interesting. There's a New York Times article today, and it here's the headline of it. It was hundreds joined Trump at exclusive, that's in quotes, exclusive dinner with dreams of crypto fortunes in mind. The guests were the biggest investors in President Trump's meme coin, and they were greeted with chants of shame as they arrived at Trump's national golf course. Now, first, let me say this to the protesters of Donald Trump and anything Republican.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you want to get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
This new thing you're doing outside, going, shame, 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 from Game of Thrones. I didn't even watch that ridiculous dragon show.
It was great. What are you talking about?
Whatever. I didn't even watch that show. You look like stupid cosplay children when you do that. Please, anything else, okay? Go back to calling us Nazis, okay? Just do that. Fascist. There you go. Fascist. Do that. Do that one. That one works. But the shame thing, it means you guys need to, you need help. It's not working. And it's corny. It's just corny. Anyway, that being said, move on.
I keep hearing that hip hop song. How you go trip from outside the club?
Yeah,
you can't even get in.
Exactly. So they couldn't get in, and these people at the New York Times are reporting on this very exclusive party on cryptocurrency. And the theme, the narrative in all of this is, look at Donald Trump enriching himself through a meme coin. Look at him making more money for himself, lining his pockets. What a greedy troglodyte. And I look at this and I go, you know, somebody who's greedy and trying to enrich themselves would take the $450,000 paycheck that comes with it too, right? Because I mean, I'm just getting that.
I would. I'm just
right?
saying.
Like, so he wants all the other millions of dollars that he's getting, but that $450,000 that the government's paying him, yeah, you guys can keep that.
Right.
I don't need that. That penance. Give that. You know what? Give my paycheck to Obama. You know what I'm saying? I hear that him and Michelle might need that if the divorce happens. You know what I'm saying? You know what? Give that to her. Tell Barack he could use that as my alimony. Anyway, that being said, all of this stuff is on the up and up. We didn't find out through secret documents that Qatar was giving an airplane to the Air Force, right? There was no cover-up or scandal.
I saw it on TV Live.
Everybody saw it. Everybody saw it. So it is out in the open. Nothing secretive, no whistleblower campaigns to get people to know, did you know Qatar is giving an airplane away? There is an exclusive dinner of meme coin people that Donald Trump's going to be speaking at. This stuff was done out in the open, and press releases were sent everywhere. But everybody's treating it like it's secretive. And I kept looking at this going, wait a minute, man. How is this possible? How is this possible that all of this stuff is being done on the up and up, and there's a controversy? But yet, Burisma Holdings, where the president's crackhead son received $50,000 a month in a Ukrainian oil company, was argued to the teeth. Nothing untoward here. Nothing suspicious about that. I'm sure Hunter's been to a gas station or two. Perhaps he knows everything there is to know about premium gas. He drives a Jag. How about BHR Partners, the Chinese equity firm? How is crackhead Hunter Biden a founding board member with 10% stake in it? How did the crackhead do that? You know, Pookie couldn't even get a job at the Circle K. They turned him down once they saw exactly. It's like,
you know how Pookie was getting his crack.
Yeah, I know. They was like, hey, Pookie, I saw you. Pookie, I saw you smoking crack on the other day. No, you cannot work the register at Circle K. What you going to do with the money I pay you and the money in the register? But crackhead Hunter Biden, he got to have a 10% stake in a founding board member to a Chinese equity firm. How about CEFC, the China energy company? I mean, I figure since you're getting $50,000 a month over at Burisma, an oil company that you know nothing about, why not join another firm? And that company gave him $4.8 million, but nothing to be seen here. How did we find out all of that? Oh, through whistleblowers.
I need to smoke crack, apparently.
But we didn't see any of this, right? We didn't get to know all of this. This stuff had to be exposed. And this was happening while the president was jet-setting around, or at the time, the vice president was jet-setting around the country, right? But nothing to see here. Hunter Biden's being picked on. How about Russian oligarch Yelena Butorina, who wired Hunter $3.5 million. Yeah. Sent that over to him. And what do you think she sent him $3.5 million worth? Do you think she bought $3.5 million worth of crack? That's a lot of rock.
Oil? Gas?
She sent, yeah, apparently, because that's what he worked. There was also a Kazakhstan oligarch. His name is Kenis Rakifshev. He sent $142,300, which was used for a car purchase. Crackheads need cars.
I'm just saying, I really should probably start smoking crack. I'm doing something wrong here.
And don't forget that the vice president at the time, or former vice president at the time, attended a 2014 dinner with these people, the Russian oligarch Yelena and Kenis. Okay? And now everyone is sitting up here telling me that Donald Trump having a dinner that a press release was sent out to, or receiving a plane that everyone knows about because Qatar made it public.
Or telling everybody, buy stocks now.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Trading.
Telling the entire world to buy stocks now, which, by the way, is a euphemism for, by the way, just MAGA. Buy stocks. Buy stocks now. He told everybody on his Truth Social post, right now would be a good time to buy stocks. And they took that as he's telling he's telling MAGA to buy stocks. I'm like, only MAGA? Like, is there a secret channel? All of this is ridiculous. And I can't seem to understand what people are trying to make us believe. And how do you not look silly? Like, how do you not see yourself as silly? If I have buyer's remorse for anything, it's believing there was something prudent about you folks. In believing I completely own my naivete in thinking that the Democrat Party in any form was on the up and up. I wanted to believe there were members of the Democrat Party who were decent, who were honest, who actually cared. But truth be told, you don't. And you'll go to any length to lie. Now, it doesn't mean that Republicans or Donald Trump or, conservatives don't lie. Everyone lies. It's not a good thing. I know that people lie. I get it. This is not one of those contests about who lies the most. I wish it could be about that. You guys would lose. Well, technically, you'd win because you lie a lot. But I understand that people lie. I get it. No one knows why. I think I know why people lie. I think people lie for personal gain. I do believe that. I know that I did.
I think people lie because they lack personal courage.
Ooh.
I used to say this to one of my children, I won't name which one, all the time. This child was a terrible liar, but did it constantly. And my comment to that child was always, if you feel the need to lie, it means you don't believe in yourself or the thing that you're lying about enough. You know that this was the wrong thing. You did it anyway and are attempting to be deceitful. If you said it or did it, have the courage to own up to it. If you can't, then don't do it.
That's so true. And I said that as a guy who used to cheat a lot as a younger person in my 20s. I remember when I came to terms with that. Like, I understood. I was like, why did I lie about cheating on my girlfriend at the time? And it was because I didn't have the courage to tell her that I was unfaithful, because I knew what the repercussions of that was going to be. She was going to be angry. She was probably going to tell me to leave. She didn't want to see me anymore. And because I didn't want her to say that, my fear made me lie. So I lied and said, nope, it's not happening. No, it isn't true. Instead of telling the truth, and the truth was, I truly just want to see both of you. And I wish I had just had the guts and just dealt with the consequences, but I don't want the consequences of the truth.
It's a lack of personal integrity.
And you're at 100% right. And that's true. And I think that's the case with some of these libs, or anybody for that matter, who lies. It's not having the fortitude to be honest and accept the consequences as they come.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
So being deceitful, but I see that the part I see in the personal gain, right, is lying to get someone on your side or lying to get someone to believe in you or to trust you, right? It's like doing the thing to get trust that normally wouldn't, right? So lying to obtain trust. That's just so weird, but that's the duality of it, right?
Right. Well, again, if you believed firmly enough in what you were doing and the virtuosity of it, you wouldn't have to lie. You could be honest and say, "Hey, look, I'm a crappy guy. I have no intention on being faithful and monogamous, but I really enjoy, this thing we've got going on. I like what I'm doing with her too, and with her and with her. So,
And I think that's
and
it.
honesty brings the most truth, the most trust. If you were to tell me, I kind of been eating all your snackies when you're away. All right, well, now I just got to buy more snackies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, be
but
honest with me and don't lie to me.
Yeah, lying to you about eating your snackies means that
I'll get you throat punched. To eat my snackies.
Matt said, okay, I want to read some of the commentary because they're jumping in here. Matt says he's not like those dumb Trump I don't know who you're talking about, but anyway. Don't forget about Hunter's paint-by-numbers masterpieces. Can't forget that. That's right. The White House refused to even inform anyone of who was buying the Hunter Biden paintings for millions of dollars and whether or not there was any pay-to-play involved in that. Right?
Joe and what's her name? Jill were buying them.
Quite possible.
Yeah.
But let me play this. I wanted to play this for you that I thought was interesting in this duality of dealing with the Trumps and the Bidens when it comes to this thing. Here is a supercut of the news media talking about Don Jr. first and then Hunter Biden.
CNN learning exclusively tonight that Donald Trump Jr.'s 3 mysterious phone calls before and after that infamous 2016 Trump Tower meeting were not with his father.
Donald Trump Jr.'s mysterious phone calls around the 2016 Trump Tower meeting.
There was a phone call that Donald Trump Jr. had with an individual. Later, Trump Jr. had another phone call with a blocked number.
Trump Jr. released a series of bombshell emails he had in June of last year.
Bombshell report about the original emails between Goldstone and Trump Jr.
This latest story with Trump Jr.
The bombshell claim directly contradicts what Trump Jr. told congressional investigators.
Trump Jr. released the Twitter exchanges. The timing of the messages is raising a lot of eyebrows.
This is them on Hunter now.
There is absolutely no evidence that anything sleazy that Hunter Biden or the president's brother did has crossed into the White House decision.
Right, that's a key point. And there are also Senate Republicans who failed to find direct evidence of corruption in Hunter Biden's specific activity in Ukraine.
Hunter Biden's attorney, Abby Lowell, says there's no evidence of wrongdoing by his client.
There's really no evidence to suggest that they have that proof.
We can't say this enough. There is no evidence to prove that at all.
So
fast forward a few years.
Yeah, fast forward a few years till Hunter Biden is pleading guilty to those things to which his father has to pardon him. Well, allegedly, because we don't know.
Pen.
But if you want to laugh, I think I have time to do this, right? I've got to the bottom of the hour, Roland, to do this next piece.
Oh, no, you got about 1 minute.
Oh, I got 1 minute. Okay, when we come back, I have to play this other part. You've got stepdaughters. I've got a stepdaughter.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine they were approached in their neighborhood by a man on the street asking them this question. Who would you rather date? Hunter Biden or Don Jr.? I want you to think about that. Hold on real tight. I want you to think about that. What you think your daughters would say. I'll tell you what mine would say. When we get back, But I'm going to actually play you the video of the actual question in New York, where young women, smart young women, decide on who they would date, Don Jr. or Hunter Biden. And no, the answer will not surprise you. It will not. And their reasonings for their pick will not surprise you either. And it is quite fun. I'm just saying. Matt says Hunter is nice enough to let me stay on his couch. All I need is a little Ready Rock. Yes, sir. You will have to bring party favors, Matt.
Ready? Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Rock. Ready.
I'm drug ignorant. I apologize. I just found out what an 8-ball was. So, yeah.
Really? I forgot that was the first time you actually found out about that. Lori says both of her daughters would pick Don Jr. Yeah, they're definitely not part of this survey. Let's get another check on the weather.
Hold on.
What happened? Not yet?
Hold on, he's still
okay.
He's wrapping up.
All right. Well, we'll wait for him to wrap up.
That was my fault. I went too early.
That's okay. That's quite all right. Yeah, some of these people, Lori, they did not get so well. By the way,
if you're ready.
Okay, if you're interested in the score, Red Sox, as I said, 11-3 against the Orioles at home. Let's get another check of the news, traffic, and weather. Jason Catarina has got weather. Mark Christopher's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Stay locked in. Reese on the radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, we're back. It's Reese on the radio, News Talk 1080, WTIC. Lori says that both of her daughters would pick Don Jr. As promised, let me play this audio for you real quick. This is the Daily Caller did a man on the street in New York City. In fact, this is one of my old neighborhoods on the Lower East Side. And talked to a couple of young women there and asked them, if you had a choice, Hunter or Don Jr.?
Who would you rather hypothetically date, Hunter Biden or Donald Trump Jr.?
Hunter Biden.
And why would you choose Hunter?
Because I can fix him.
You really think you can fix him?
Yeah.
You have like experience like fixing guys like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? Welcome to New York City. Today we're asking people who they'd rather date, Donald Trump Jr. or Hunter Biden. Let's go find out. Hunter Biden or Donald Trump Jr.?
Oh, this is a real question.
Yeah, it's a real question.
Oh my God. Can I say neither and I'll just die alone?
Donald Trump Jr. or Hunter Biden?
Hunter Biden, obviously. Yeah, 1000%.
Yeah, I don't think I could have Trump as a dad.
Does Hunter Biden like sweep you off your feet with his like amazing habits or something?
No, absolutely not. I don't think I could deal with dating someone with the last name Trump.
Hunter Biden.
What do you like about Hunter Biden?
He's not related to Donald Trump.
But you know, like Bill.
Yeah.
Doesn't take you at all?
No, not really.
The Trump thing just cancels it all out?
Yeah, that's a no.
He's like a billionaire, you know, good looking, like.
Morals aren't there. I couldn't deal. I'm also queer, so I don't think that would work for me.
So she says the morals aren't there for Don Jr. But apparently, but
a crackhead who will sleep with his dead brother's wife.
Moral superior.
Wasn't there, I don't want to say her name, but initials are M.O., credit card or something found in Hunt.
Yeah.
So if you're this guy has absolutely no couth. Like
Lori is losing it in the chat room. Morals.
So with Hunter, as long as it's warm and breathing, he's down.
Wait. Yes. Hold on, there's more.
I find Donald Trump's son attractive. He's attractive. So
Donald Trump Jr.?
Yeah, he's attractive.
He's not a bad looking guy.
Yeah, he's not. I would rather smoke with Hunter Biden than Donald Trump Jr. any day.
You ever hear the phrase, you could fix him?
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's my whole philosophy.
You think you can fix him?
No. I just know those are the types of guys that I go after.
The guys that are weighing crack and stuff?
Yeah. Oh, is it crack? I thought it was just weed. Oh, well.
I guess Hunter Biden? Donald Trump Jr. is such a f***ing chud. Yeah, I mean, at least Hunter Biden seems to have fun. I could hang out with him and smoke some crack, I guess. If I'm dating Hunter Biden, I'm already there.
Hunter Biden has been having...
That's all you need to know, folks. Gosh, you should see my wife's face. We got to get the weather and traffic with Jason Caterina and Mark Christopher at the BPS Traffic Center. My wife is mortified, Mark.
I don't blame her. I really don't blame her. Hey.
The self-proclaimed love child of Rush Limbaugh.
We're running a strange program, y'all.
Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080
Or Donald Trump Jr.
WTIC.
Hunter Biden. And why would you choose Hunter?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. We're back. Reese on the radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. What? Another 2 runs. The score in the Red Sox game is 19-3. It's still in the 8th inning. Bottom of the 8th. Like, how do you go with that? Like, why bother? Why bother? By the way, telephone number 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. We may be online for the duration because I don't think that there's a chance. Well, they're 2 outs. They're 2 outs and
2 outs
1
in
minute.
the ninth?
2 outs in the 8th.
Oh, they still in the 8th?
They're still in the 8th.
Oh, my God.
The score is 19-3. Red Sox have 13 runs in the 8th inning. Yeah, Lori says that tomorrow the Red Sox won't be able to buy a run. That'll be the case.
Forget tomorrow. They got a game in a couple hours.
That's right, they do. That's right. It's a doubleheader today. And it's going to be so backwards because last night's game got canceled. This reversal, if you will, it's going to be a reversal. It always happens. We get the next game and they get blown out. So, boo, Jason. Boo. Go Yankees. Boo. Boo. Not a fan. 860-522-9842. Tom is in Thomaston. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm well. Hey, Reese, I did a Google search on the White House. There are 36 restrooms in the White House. President Trump should buy 36 of Hunter's paintings and hang each of them where they belong in each restroom. That way he would be helping the president with his medical bills.
Right.
And putting the pictures where they belong.
Exactly.
So would he be lining the toilet seat with the pictures? Because I think that's pretty much where they belong.
Let me ask you this, Tom. Interestingly enough, what do you think of the idea that Hunter and Jill Biden may have been selling the auto pen signatures for pardons? What do you think the likelihood that story's got legs?
Normally someone would say, oh, come on, that's just crazy. But with them, I say it's 50-50 and up.
Yeah.
You start at 50-50 and you go up. Remember, he was a crackhead who slept with his brother's wife.
Yeah.
Dead brother's wife.
And got her hooked.
Could he also could he become a crackhead again who will sleep with his dead father's wife? I wouldn't put anything back.
Thank you.
You know what?
Thank you.
You know what? My wife.
Thank you.
Tom, my wife said that yesterday. My wife said, are you going to go on the air and say what I said? I'm like, I don't know. I'm probably going to leave you to do it. I'm going to Jim Comey it and let you take the fall.
Blame your wife.
Blame my wife. My wife said yesterday that she would not bat an eye in crazy if she found out that Hunter it is his stepmother.
So when Hunter was 16, Jill was 34.
Yeah.
I know when I walk into my son's high school, those little hornballs are ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
Just there's some things that Jill has allowed and done where I'm not
It's so
sure
the part that and tell everybody the part that you're concerned about, and it has to do with Normandy.
Yeah, she was leaving her mentally ill and physically decrepit husband across the other side of the country to fly back and forth once a week to see Hunter go to trial.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very peculiar.
Yeah, it's very peculiar. And it's not his mother, so, Yeah, I wouldn't put it past him. Hey, Rozan, can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Oh, you were military, right?
I was, yes.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the? He's just starting out. He's only on YouTube. Lieutenant Colonel Genghis Khan. His name is Asad Khan, but he's in Afghanistan, and so they call him Genghis Khan.
I don't think I've seen him. No.
He's fairly new. Check out his videos. He's a hard charging. He was lieutenant colonel, but he had the heart and the mind of an enlisted man. He is really, really good. They kind of kicked him out of the army because he was saying stuff about Afghanistan.
Wow.
And the general corps tried to put it on him. He didn't get convicted of anything, but he left the military. He's got a lot of contacts. He said just last week that he's heard that Trump's going to be going after General Milley,
yes,
who was the Secretary of State.
You're talking about Lloyd Austin.
Yeah, Lloyd Austin. And
Anthony Blinken.
Yeah, well, he's not military. See, the civilians, they can't do anything to it. You can't do anything to Biden. But the military guys are, even though they're retired, they're still under military law. They could go to jail for 20 years if they do something untowardly as far as military goes.
Right.
There's a lieutenant colonel in the Marines that was head of Afghanistan. He says the Trump guys are going to go after those three guys hard, and if convicted of military wrongdoing, could all go to jail for up to 20 years.
As well they should.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tom. We'll actually check it in, and I know Rozan will because that's her thing. She watches those military videos all day.
Come out.
Tom, we lost you, but yeah, don't worry. We'll make sure we'll keep a note of it. We'll make a note of it, and we'll get back to you on it. I promise. You got okay. Thank you, sir. All right, we have to cut him off. Anyway,
I just want to say I'm really, really mad at you for making me watch that video.
Which one?
Hunter versus Dawn.
I'm sorry. I'm just, that's...
I know you didn't do it, but I'm mad at you. Like, there are some things that I don't need to be subject to, and something like that is going to create such violent rage. Like, I wanted to walk up to each of those girls, grab them by the shoulders, and etch-a-sketch shake them. Maybe, set their brains right.
Well, you have to understand that these... Look, it sounds crazy, but the truth of this is... And I've noticed it more and more. I think I did a whole monologue about it a couple of weeks ago. There was this news report that was almost bragging that more and more people were joining the Church of Satan because of the presidency of Donald Trump. And my response to that...
At least they believe in something.
I'm sorry?
At least they believe in something.
Well, that's a way to look at it. But in that, my response to it was, dude, that's not a flex.
Right.
Like... you're trying, if you think that you're telling us, wow, people don't like Trump so much, they're willing to join Satan, as if to say those poor souls, look at how distraught they are about Trump's presidency, that they are willing to join Mephistopheles in his mission to destroy us all. And I'm going... did you really think that this was going to read the way that you thought it read? Because I never saw, no one read that and just went, yeah, I understand that. I think I can make heads or tails of that. If anything, you are making the case for Trump.
Well, it's toddlers behaving like toddlers. If you tell a kid don't touch that, what is the kid going to do? 1.5, 2, maybe 3 years old.
Yeah.
Don't touch that, and they go and touch it anyway. Looking you dead in the eyeballs, right? Drunken little terrorists that they are, staring you dead in the eyeball, and they do it anyway.
Yeah.
And now you got to get after them. That's what these Satanists are doing. That's what all of these anti-Trumpers, these TDS people, that's what they're doing. Now, listen, I suffered from TDS. I've been cured. I'm not woke anymore. I'm awake, okay?
I like that.
And what that means is I stopped allowing somebody else to tell me what was true, regardless of what I was seeing with my own two eyeballs. This entity is telling me, no, it's not purple, it's orange. And I'm going, no, chick, I'm pretty sure I know what purple looks like. I had to start looking at these things for myself rather than allowing myself to just go, maybe I was wrong.
Do you think?
I'm not going to think for myself.
Is it fair to call it intellectually lazy?
It is willful ignorance. I don't think it's intellectually lazy. I think it is a willful, intentional desire to remain ignorant because there is a sense of comfort and a sense of comorbidity with your fellow sufferers in choosing to continue to drink the poison. We're all suffering together. I know that this doesn't quite sound right, but you know what? It doesn't sound right to us both together. So let's just gripe and complain together. Let's form our own little club.
What I don't understand in that echo chamber, and that's the part that drives me nuts, is that I don't see those two groups arguing. Like they should be, right? They should be arguing about what they disagree with everybody else. Like there should be some form of discussion going on.
That's like saying to an addict, you got two addicts sitting next to each other. No meth is better. No crack's better. No meth is better. No crack's better. It doesn't matter. You got crack? Yeah, let's use those. You got meth? Great, let's do that one today. It doesn't matter. They will pick whatever is going to get them all these friends. These are these isolated, insecure, delusional, sad, overhugged trophy, participation trophy winners that just didn't get their way. So they're all grouping together. And whatever that guy says we're going to be mad about today, that's what we're mad about. And tomorrow it's his turn, and then one day it'll be my turn. It doesn't matter. They don't really need logic. They just need a distorted, disillusioned leader to allow them to continue to rant and rave like friggin' lunatics.
Do you think that they're looking for, and I'm treating you like you're some sort of psychologist here, but I'm talking to you as somebody who was, sort of in that
former.
camp.
I'm recovered. Yeah, I'm a recovered liberal. and in my defense, I will say I didn't leave the Liberal Democrat Party. It literally left me behind. I'm exactly the same as I was back then.
I want to go back to, instead of my other question, I want to go back to something you said about, here I'm seeing something that's purple and they're telling you that it's orange.
Joe Biden.
Yeah, no, but the interesting part about what you said was, I think
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
On the back end of that it was a group of people telling you that what you were seeing was orange, even though you knew it was purple. And if you said that it was purple, if you pushed back and says, no, guys, I'm positive that's purple, I know it's purple, they would accuse you of not being wrong. They wouldn't even say that you were wrong. They called you a bigot or a racist or a traitor.
Right. Well, I mean, that's how cults work, right? Either you are ostracized into submission or you are love bombed into submission.
Do you think it's really that as simple as people being bullied into that?
Absolutely. Why did I leave the liberal Democrat mindset? I'll tell you what finally did it for me. Well, the final nail in the head was watching Trump get shot, right? Right before that was this growing pattern of black women calling me an ignorant bee or a racist. I'm ignorant white woman or I'm a racist.
Wow.
Because I no longer supported this belief that black people are the only people in the history of the world. Black Americans are the only ones to have ever struggled with slavery. And it was so oppressively bad. Never in the history of the world has it ever been as bad as... I didn't buy that bull crap anymore. And I wasn't continuing to regurgitate the bull crap. I was really interested. I started investigating, educating myself, and coming to realize it was kind of bad, guys. Yeah, it was ugly. It was not pretty. However, let's look at things that were done to other people. You have actual documentation of Columbus's crew talking about how they were assaulting girls as young as 12 and 14 years old and found them to be easy prey, so they're going to take a bunch of them back to Spain.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that it was, worse for one and not the other.
Yeah.
What about the Barbary slaves who were cutting out the tongues of Europeans who refused to convert to Islam? You know what I mean? Egypt. Can we talk about Egypt for a second?
Yeah.
I
I get everything you're saying. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. I know we're going to be getting some families calling from the area of Granby about the LGBTQIA stuff. We talked about the opening of the hour. It looks like the Red Sox game is over. So when we do get back, we'll be back on WTIC. So people can listen on the radio. And congratulations to the Red Sox on that great win. Huge win. 13 runs in the 8th inning. The Orioles tried to come back. They only scored 2.
It's Baltimore.
It's Baltimore, exactly. Yeah. And we'll get into that. We have so much stuff to get into that we're going to talk about that. Hopefully, I did send a shout out to the parents of any child in Granby who was at Wednesday's Board of Education meeting. If they want to call in and talk about that and give some insight into what was going on there, I think Brian, if he's on hold, Brian, stand by. We will get to you as soon as possible to talk about that. And then Rozan and I will have this discussion about the documentary What Killed Michael Brown in the last half hour and talk about what you learned from that, because a lot of people I told to watch it, and I want to see if they sort of got the same affect, if you will, from the movie that you did. All right, so all of that is coming up. Plenty of other news and views, and, of course, your phone calls at 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. Do you like our new design, by the way? If you have any comments about Rozan and our little Rose, this is what I call the Rozan cam, if anything, because, Rozan's in her show. You kind of hung out all show.
I know.
I wanted to see what this was like after I mentioned it last week or earlier this week about you being on a little longer. So I wanted to talk. And I'm
having fun. You're my favorite person to talk to, honestly.
I know. I'll admit, you have not shut up for the whole 2.5 hours. I mean,
it's such a change of character for me. I know. It's strange for you to see me so talkative and verbose.
I know. Yeah. It's I was like, where did this come from? This is not the woman I married. Absolutely. Yeah, we'll get more to this conversation as well as promised. This has actually been fun. I like doing this with you.
Thank you.
This is going to be this is going to be a fun ride for you and me.
Yeah.
This is unlike anything that I've ever experienced in my radio career. It feels different. It does.
It's organic. I think it's organic. It feels very natural.
What, you and me, or this
whole,
radio
whole
experience?
thing. Yeah, all of it.
It does. It feels great. It's a different. Yeah, it's different. That's much I'll say. Lori says, it was great to have her join you. I appreciate that, Lori. She loves hearing that, too. Let's get another check of our news, weather, and traffic. John Silver has got news. As soon as I find out what he does, I'll
get
tell
it out.
Jason Caterina's got weather, and Mark Christopher's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
All right, Reese, thank you very much. Well, southbound 91 delays 34 down to 32 A&B in Hartford. Another bump down by exit 28 on the Hartford-Wethersfield line. If you are traveling northbound 91, that looks good now. Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. Westbound 84 slowing 56 Governor Street, East Hartford out to 47 Sigourney.
All right, change your phones over. I'm going to change it up as soon as we go to news.
You got it.
If you're traveling to westbound, delays 1D up to the 84 West Merchant, East Hartford. Looks good, 291 through 84. 9 northbound into Middletown slow. Arbor Park to the Aragoni Bridge. Also some slow traffic 9 northbound as you move up on exit 34 New Britain. 84 eastbound Waterbury delays kicking in just after 16 up to the Mixmaster in Waterbury. Westbound 84 tied up. 691 interchange in Cheshire up to the Mixmaster. 84 eastbound. Some slow traffic in Waterbury 25A down to the 691 interchange. Heading toward Danbury, 84 eastbound slowing 3 to 5. Again, 84 eastbound tied up from 8 to 11 in Newtown. Heading toward New Haven, southbound on the Parkway delays from 61 down into the West Rock. In 95 southbound, you've got slow traffic 48 down to 43 in West Haven. 91 southbound slows 3 down in toward the 95 interchange. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Well, the rest of our Friday afternoon, cloudy and cool with a couple of showers, the high of 56. Tonight, a shower in the area during the evening. Otherwise, it remains overcast and breezy. Feeling a bit chilly with the breeze, the low down to 46. Mostly cloudy Saturday, breezy and cool. We'll have a brief shower or two around still, the high of 60. Then Sunday, breezy, cool, but dry with a mix of sun and clouds. The high moving up to 64. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
WTIC is celebrating 100 years on the air and 100 years of serving Connecticut. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford, an Odyssey station.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
5 o'clock, Hartford temperature 53 degrees. Good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. There is a tentative agreement between Pratt & Whitney and union machinists who went on strike nearly 3 weeks ago. The International Association of Machinists Union says the deal was struck around 1 o'clock this morning with improvements in job security, wages, and retirement security. Before the deal was announced, Senator Richard Blumenthal addressed workers on the picket line in East Hartford.
You are fighting for what's basic to America, which is fairness to our working men and women and our families. Those kinds of values are what make us the greatest nation in the history of the world.
One of the workers' top concerns was getting a company commitment to keep local jobs in Connecticut. Democratic North Carolina Governor Josh Stein says FEMA has denied an appeal to pay for the removal of debris from Hurricane Helene last September. The governor released a social media video statement.
We got word from FEMA that it has denied our appeal. That means, quite frankly, it will cost North Carolina taxpayers a lot more to clean up western North Carolina.
Now, Stein says it'll cost about $2 billion to remove all of the hurricane debris from roads and waterways in the mountains of western North Carolina. Convictions in the armed robbery of Kim Kardashian in France nearly a decade ago. Correspondent Elaine Cobb is in Paris.
It took 9 years, but the gang behind the $10 million jewelry heist has been found guilty. The Paris court convicted 8 of the 10 accused, acquitting 2 men believed to have tipped off the gang about Kim Kardashian's movements during Fashion Week. 7 of the 8 were handed sentences ranging from 3 to 8 years, but with much of that suspended. And with time already served in custody, none will return to prison. Elaine Cobb, CBS News, Paris.
Governor Lamont announcing a contract agreement between direct care workers and operators of nursing and group homes. SEIU Local 1199 will see significant wage increases, according to Lamont. Johanna El-Nabai, a worker who took part in the talks, says they're pleased they have averted a potential strike. The agreement includes incremental increases in Medicaid for nursing and group homes over 3 years and creates a pathway to a $26 an hour wage by 2028. Well, you can consider Connecticut a drive-to state, not a drive-through state. That, according to the director of tourism, Anthony. He points to some examples.
Litchfield was just named top 25 place to visit in the United States by Condé Nast Traveler. That is an internationally recognized magazine. It's because you have 3 new boutique hotels that have just opened up. You have internationally recognized restaurants in the area. You also have some of the best hiking in the nation.
Now, they were on hand in Niantic today to kick off the summer tourism season. Department of Energy and Environmental Protection points to $70 million in investment.
Table stage. And be sure to stop by the WTIC tent Friday from 4 till 6. It's Hartford Taste, presented by The Hartford. Come taste what Hartford has to offer.
Brian Shackman here for Brian & Company and WTIC News Talk 1080. Listen, I hope you're enjoying your long weekend. It's not long for us. We will be on live Memorial Day for you and for us because we like doing it. We will have some Memorial Day festivities to talk about and some guests. Also, Justin Prosser will join us. He got that fully funded service dog because of you last year. And Canines for CT Vets, we're doing it again. We've launched it. We have to raise $25,000 in about 2 weeks. We'll be at Duncan Park with the Yard Goats on Tuesday, and we'll talk a lot about it on Monday and see how you can help fully fund a service dog for one of our Connecticut veterans.
You've been listening to Red Sox Baseball on WTIC News Talk 1080. We now join our regularly scheduled program. Been on the air for
Unless we're back on the air. That's normally not the case. Maybe we are back on the air. They'll figure it out. I promise you they will. They'll let us know.
Get a head start
There
to
it
your
is.
day with WTIC News Talk 1080. Listen to us live on the Odyssey app before you even hit the road. Get the breakdown on the biggest news stories that Connecticut is talking about. To get started, download the Odyssey app and search for WTIC News Talk 1080. WTIC weather.
So there's something that was going on. I don't know if we're there. I just got told that we should just talk. So, okay, we're live and we're on the air. What was actually, that threw me off. Anyway, it's Reese on Radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. Rozan and I are here. Of course, you know that every Friday is... And we got to fly in this studio, and it's driving me nuts. I'm just completely ticked off about it. I want to go to the phones now. We might as well, since we can, right? So we'll just go to the phones.
Yo.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Oh, you got me?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, cool. We good.
All right. No, just making sure. That was weird.
Hold up. Can't go to the phones because we only got 30 seconds.
Oh, we only got 30 seconds. Oh, good. Okay. So even though we only have 30 seconds, yeah, we've only got a couple. Well, we got a little more than 30 seconds, don't we? Yeah, I can do this. Once again, WTIC News Talk 1080 is teamed up with Forever in My Heart Foundation to provide a Connecticut veteran with a service dog. It's WTIC's K9 for Connecticut vets. It's a new name, but with the same vision. We need your help. Our goal is to provide Connecticut veteran Paul with a service dog. His name is Artem, and we're raising money now through June 6th, and we have to raise $25,000. There are several ways that you can donate. You can text Artem to 91999 or go to WTIC.com/vet. It's an online link, and you can get the QR code there. So help us out. I hope you will. And with that, we now go to the BPS Traffic Center with Jason Caterina with weather and Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Reese on the Radio is getting ready to drop some knowledge on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Drop it.
We are back. Reese on the Radio here. Of course, it is ladies' night with my wife, Rozan, on the radio. We were talking earlier about Granby Memorial High School in Granby, Connecticut, and about this effort to introduce this syllabus into the school for 15 and 16-year-old 10th graders. And Rozan went through some of the videos that was required for these kids to read, or to watch. Sorry, read, but to watch. Sorry, let me put your microphone back on. And some of the things that you were viewing there said that it was questionable, not just because of the content. It was the way in which it's being presented to young children without full context.
Right. I want to point real quick to the rubric, right?
Right, yes,
because
let's get
all
there.
of this is based on the rubric.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who's ever taken a college course or an advanced high school course understands what a rubric is. These elements must be met in order to achieve maximum points.
Okay.
Right?
And this is 20% of a grade according to the rubric. It
Wow.
says on
Okay. So number 5 on the rubric, the second bullet point says that the video reflects a deep understanding of the topic and an ability to infer. I put that word in
quotations.
Big letters. Infer or draw a conclusion. Now, just for those who may be a little uncertain of what infer means, indicate or indirectly imply. Okay. Right? So reflects a deep understanding of the topic and an ability to imply or draw a conclusion. Okay. That's problematic, right? Yeah. And then number 4 is adequately supported with specific, accurate, and relevant evidence. Now, this is essential when you're presenting evidence or writing a paper, which is what this was for.
Right.
You have to be able to cite your sources. Anybody who's ever taken any sort of writing classes understands if you are citing sources, it is a research-based situation. There are criteria for what is considered a credible and acceptable source. The sources they are using are .wiki, .com.
Wow.
Those are not acceptable, credible sources.
Right.
So when I was talking earlier about the 47% of LGBTQ LMNOP children 12 to 17 are using, alcohol or illicit drugs, 47%. I did use a .com. However, the .com I used was the Trevor Project.
What is that?
The Trevor Project is, an organization that is geared toward helping LGBTQ youth, not necessarily children, youth. So, at a certain demographic, I'm guessing into the early 20s.
Okay. All right, let's get to the phones real quick, because I did tell some parents, if they were somewhat associated with this, had gone to the meeting, if you will, if they would join us. I'm hoping, and maybe, I could be wrong here, but I have Brian on the line who's calling in from Granby. Brian, did you attend this? Are you a parent in the area? Do you know anything about this?
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you want to get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Both. All three, I guess. Yeah. I attended the meeting.
Okay.
And I am a parent of a sophomore who was affected by this curriculum.
Okay. And thank you for calling, because I did send a shout out earlier to the parent who let me know that this was going on. So I thank you for answering the call. Talk to us a little bit about.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Talk to me about to us a little bit about what you got from this and what the parents' concern were, at least from what you could ascertain from being there.
Well, I mean, before the meeting, obviously, there was a concern over the inappropriate sexual content and sexual relations that were being taught to minor children. When you're talking about kids to 15, 16 years old. So, I mean, I wasn't shocked, but the board knew we were coming.
Yeah.
So during public comment, a bunch of parents got up and were able to speak. But prior to that, they had a preemptive strike where the superintendent got up and actually spoke and said that the children knew that they can opt out of it. Afterwards, we checked what she said and was not true. And she actually put the student liaison who sits on the board, who is a high school student, on the spot and asked her, hey, you knew you could opt out of this. And she very politely and eloquently said in a nice way, well, yeah, we knew about it at the beginning of the year, but when it gets towards the tail end of the year, you kind of forget about things like that. The parents didn't know. I mean, this is not content that a kid is going to say no to. Kids are going to be kids. They're going to go to the class. And it wasn't until one student stood up and said, this is inappropriate, and contacted her parents. And then once that started getting, parents started finding out about it and viewing it, because you can view it on Google Docs and see the videos. I mean, I viewed it. It's disturbing. It's graphic and disturbing. It contains inappropriate touching, caressing, the pronoun onslaught. We feel that as parents, it's our job to talk to our kids about the birds and the bees. I personally feel that it's a social engineering initiative, an indoctrination of our children containing deceptive practices by the district to keep parents in the dark. They knew the kids would just go along with it. But they knew that if the parents knew about it, the conservative parents would say no, and they wouldn't allow their kids to view it.
I'm only stopping you here, Brian, because I got to be honest with you. I really, the conservative parents, a given. Of course, they would be opposed to it, but I don't think it's short. I don't think it stops there. I think the average parent, and this is what I spoke to Michael about earlier, and I think I'm going to have to do this on my own. That whole thing about, like Thanos says, forget about this. I'm going to do it myself. I almost feel like I have to. Brian, what we have to do, and I'm telling everybody who is listening, especially parents at Granby, this is what we have to do. We have to grab these videos. We have to splice up the pieces that are the most despicable that they want to show to these children. Put it together in a 2.5 to 3 minute piece. Walk around to average parents, young, old, black, white, Asian, Hispanic. Show them that. Catch them on camera. If they don't want to be videotaped, at least get their voices where we can see them responding to what they see and get their response. And get that to our elected officials, or if not the school board, and make them watch it. That this stuff is not something that just conservatives or MAGA folks are offended by. That any parent would find this very subjective and somewhat harmful to their children.
I think something that you really that needs to be restated is, if I cannot talk about it in my workplace with a coworker, why would I want an adult speaking to my child about this? And then the other part is, why is the school system so intent on creating a level of secrecy between a child and their parent? How much farther are they willing to go? I mean, next year, are they going to start introducing, well, this is how you do it. You lay the child out on a table and perform a sexual act in front of the classroom. Oh, this is part of the curriculum. It's accepted. We got to teach them how to do it. I mean, where do they draw the line?
That's and I said this to Michael earlier when we spoke, Brian. Do you feel like Connecticut is becoming a place where there's almost, it's becoming a breeding ground for pedophilia?
I do. And I think this is a foot in the door right here. Because to be honest with you, we moved to town 15 plus years ago, and we felt like this town one of the many reasons why we moved here was the amazing, accepting community that we have here, a diverse community where we felt like we were sort of separated from a lot of things like that. But, unfortunately, over the past 4 or 5 years, the writing's on the wall, and you could see it. It's starting to creep in our town. All of a sudden, these signs started popping up on.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you want to get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
People's lawns, hate has no place in our town. Yeah. And we, a bunch of us look around and we're like, where do you see hate? I don't get it.
And I think that's more or less used. That's where it's used as a cudgel, right? Because it's almost saying you have to accept this behavior in the classroom, or you have to accept this curriculum in the classroom, and any pushback against it means you're homophobic or you're bigoted. Therefore, you almost have to give your children to this curriculum, and if you say anything, you have to be ostracized.
I think it's intentionally ambiguous. There's no room for hate in our neighborhood, right, or our community. Hate of what? Hate of race, hate of sexual gender identities, hate of Tesla, hate of moon.
It could be anything.
Anything. And so if you deviate from what, the greater they deem as the altruistic, what's the word I'm looking for, item, like whatever it is, if you deviate from that mindset, you are displaying hate. And it's like I was saying, then you are either ostracized and humiliated into submission, or you are love bombed into submission. If they can't get to you, they will get to your children.
What do you think, Brian? Where are the parents at now? We also learned that this curriculum that was on some sort of Google Find page, it's since been taken down. Is that correct? It's been removed.
Yeah, I mean, we're waiting to see an action plan from the district. I mean, we said our piece, and we're going to follow up. And this isn't the end of this, and we want to see the direction that the board and the district is going. We want an action plan. We're supposed to get a response, and according to their policies, they're supposed to respond to us and give us a plan. Now, when that's going to happen, I don't know, but we want to hear from the school about how this is going to be, and not only this, but other controversial and sensitive topics. We have to sign a permission slip for our kids to watch Schindler's List. We have to, and I agree to that, right? A lot of us agree to that. And I also want to say too that this is just not about the LGBTQ plus community content on it. If it was heterosexual content on it, it still has no place.
Oh no, that's the part exactly. It was so much like what I was saying in my opening monologue was, talking about how parents with their own children have problems with talking about the birds and the bees with their young children. They're always concerned about what's too old, or is it too late, or is it too soon? That's a difficult thing for parents to have with their own children. Imagine that same conversation with an absolute stranger. Oh, and by the way, not involving the parents in that discussion. And it's about a conversation about heterosexual sex with your child is difficult enough for the parent. To now talk about these other abstract sexualities that are not, again, look, no offense, but it's not normal to a lot of people. It is, it is fringe. But even now having those conversations with your young and confused and very impressionable child. And now they're saying they don't even want your consent. They don't even want to have a conversation with you about it. It's accepted or else. That's the part that I don't seem to understand. So you want an action plan. Let me ask you this before you go. When you say you want an action plan, do you want to see them go in a different direction? Do you want to see them ixnay on this whole curriculum altogether? Or are you asking them to water it down?
I think that, I don't know how old you are, but like when I was in health class, I'm 46 years old.
Okay.
Not saying that times don't change and, we have to do things differently, but the girls went one way, the boys went the other way.
Sure.
We talked about some puberty issues or whatever. But that was that. That's what it was left at. I understand that things evolve, but this is not for school. This is for parents to teach their school. And one thing I'd like to add too, as part of that, the Board of Ed agenda on that specific night, they were adopting a suicide policy, right?
Wow.
And so they identified 4 groups within that suicide policy who are triggered or come up as high risk for suicide. And what do you think number 4 was? It was this community they're talking about.
Gender ID, yeah.
So you've identified a group of people that have a higher suicide rate, yet we're teaching this stuff to our kids. There's just a lot of areas I think we're falling short here. A bunch of us are in agreement that we would like to participate as community liaisons, as parent liaisons to the board when it comes to curriculum. And I think it has to be an open book. I think parents have to get involved.
Yeah.
So we know what they're doing.
Brian, I want to thank you so much for spending time with us and talking to us about this. This is not over. We are going to be talking about this on Monday. And we got Monday and Tuesday. We're going to talk a little bit about this. Please let the parents know that, 1, we're on their side. 2, we're fighting for them. And we are going to put Granby Memorial High School on notice that they have got to get in touch with you. This is not going by lightly. So I appreciate your time, okay?
Thanks, Reese. Appreciate it.
You got it.
Wait a minute. Hold it. 100 candles on the cake? How are you going to blow those out? Imagine what kind of a mess you're going to make of the frosting.
All right, it's Reese on the radio. It's ladies' night at NewsTalk 1080 WTIC. Rozan is here hanging out as well. We'll talk to her a little bit about the documentary I had her watch 2 days ago, Shelby Steele's What Killed Michael Brown, and what she learned from it. Did you get some notes? Did you write some notes on that?
Of course I did.
Yeah.
The perpetual student that I am. Absolutely.
That's how, I will admit, I remember my days when I kept a lot of notes. I love watching you take notes on things. Because you find some interesting stuff. You're really good. You're the ultimate researcher. I may have to put you on the team. No offense, Lori L., who is the, she is the...
Unofficial?
No, she is the CEO of the Reese on the Radio research team.
Oh.
She is.
I need to apply is what you're saying.
Yes, you have to apply.
Okay. Well, can you put in a good word for me?
I will put in a good word for you.
And I will not use the fact that I'm sleeping with the boss as a means of getting in.
You won't have to. We'll talk about that. And we've got a couple of audio clips that we played from it. If you actually watched the documentary, and I hope you did, get it. If you haven't watched it yet, go watch it. It's called What Killed Michael Brown. And again, it is not about relitigating the story about Michael Brown. It's what Shelby Steele reveals in his travels through St. Louis, because Ferguson, Missouri, St. Louis, Missouri, they're right next to each other. What's the name of the housing unit that's there? Pruitt-Igoe?
Pruitt-Igoe,
yeah. Pruitt-Igoe. It tells the story of Pruitt-Igoe, which, if you know anything about St. Louis,
East St. Louis,
East St. Louis, to be exact, yeah. There was a tenement building that ended up being demolished, but Pruitt-Igoe, the implementation of that structure was to help Black people in East St. Louis.
We're going to put help in quotations.
Yeah, help them. It is a part of the war on poverty. It was one of the first places where money was being spent to help Black people get out of poverty. And Shelby Steele breaks down. He was one of the people brought in by the Lyndon Baines Johnson administration to bring that that war
You
on
see
poverty.
the growing
to that.
frustration.
Yeah,
on
the
my
frustration
face, right?
on your face is obvious. She was so mad by the end of it. That's why I say you have to watch it. It's such a good documentary. I didn't think I'd love it that much, but I still do, and I swear by it.
What's up, everybody? You know who it is.
You know who it is.
You know who it is. It's Reese on the radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
We're back. It's Reese on the radio. Ladies' night with Rozan. About to get up out of here and enjoy the Memorial Day weekend. I hope that all of you, I hope that all of you have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. Doing whatever you're doing. We don't have any plans. No one's invited us anywhere. We're not doing it.
We're gonna go watch the Lilo and Stitch movie.
That's tonight.
Correct.
And then what else?
And then quick disclaimer. Do not wish a veteran a happy Memorial Day. There's nothing happy about this time.
That's correct.
It is a time for us to remember and celebrate the friends that we lost. So thank a veteran, hug a veteran, and remember everyone who's deployed.
There you go.
Cool.
So I'm going to kind of throw you for a loop here, unfortunately.
Not surprised.
Yeah, you
That's
know
what you do.
You know what Friday is all about, baby. So I want to do something cool. You and I have been having a discussion over the last couple of days about Connecticut and about us being there, and that's happening very, very soon. In fact, we're kind of trying to put the final touches on where we're going to live and that whole bit, right?
Yeah.
And that looks like that's coming very, very soon.
Very soon.
Very, very
I'm
soon.
very excited about this.
I know you are. So I was thinking, right, and this might be crazy, but if you were interested,
I'm interested.
Yeah, I know you're interested. If you're interested, would you be interested in getting to Connecticut maybe a little earlier than planned, like roughly about the third week of August?
Sure.
Okay.
I'd go tomorrow. I mean.
Yes, I know. I know. I know you would. But we got plenty of stuff to do here before that happens.
That's
Nonetheless, if it's around the third week of August, I was wondering, would you be opposed to me throwing you a party with listeners for your birthday on September 2nd?
Would I be opposed? No. Let me explain myself, my apprehension. One, I love being the center of attention. You know that.
Yes.
People are looking at me, talking to me. They're listening to me. I love that, right? On the other side of that coin is these are people looking at me and wanting to talk to me. And what if I say the wrong, after every break, what am I asking? Was that last thing okay? When I said this, was that I'm very self-conscious. So
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you want to get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
wow. See what the listeners want. If they
they get to show up and hang out with me, and plus maybe they hang out with Roland or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, but I mean, it's Reese on the radio. You know what I mean?
No,
like
I
the
understand
show,
that, but I still want to throw you. I want
show.
to throw you a little shindig, and you're going to be in a new town, and you don't know anybody. You've never really been to Connecticut, and so it's kind of an opportunity to sort of introduce you to the world and just do something.
Do I
festive.
get new clothes? Do I
Yes,
get like a
of
new
course.
dress or something?
Yes, you can get a new dress or something. But the idea is, in order to do something that you've never done before, and it's sort of a, it's having Connecticut welcome you.
I've never had a real birthday party since I was a very young child, so I think it'd be, it'd be pretty cool.
Okay, and it doesn't have to be like some grand get together. It's just something.
Well, then why bother? I'm kidding. I just absolutely joking.
Oh gosh, I love you. So funny. Anyway, so I think it would be fun to do. We'll work on it, and it'll happen. I think it's going to happen. But I'd like to have Connecticut sort of invite you. Can
we have somebody else plan it? I love you, but you are not good at this.
I will have somebody plan it. Here's the reason why is because look, and I say this in all honesty because I love you. This journey as far as WTIC has been concerned in the last 3 years that we have been here, this really happened because you predicted it. When you and I first got together and you saw my podcast, you said you are going to be on radio in no time. And
I gave you 6 to 9 months,
Yeah.
and in 6 months you were back on air. And then I said after that it'd be another year to 18 months before you were on air full time.
Yeah, and everything that you said happened. And you made probably my biggest dream come true. You believed in me. No, you believed in me. And it's been, again, like 14 years before I ever got back on the air. Right now we're looking at it's been a long time since I've been away, and now that I'm back. And the one person who really had all the faith in me was you. You believed in me when not so much that I needed others too, but you said to me that this was going to happen. And you've joined this journey with me. And in a lot of ways, because I'm doing this, the spouse sort of gets left behind. And not when I say left behind, like you don't really get any praise or you don't get any kudos. I get
to spend your money. So
I wouldn't be here, in my view, without you, without your support, without your love, and without everything that you put into your heart and soul.
Gay. I'm sorry, guys. If you're not able to see on video, I'm crying. Like, this is the sweetest thing. It's overload at this point.
But I'm saying to you is that this is my way, in a small way, to sort of celebrate you. I'm back in Connecticut, where it all started for me. My official radio career started in Hartford, Connecticut. We're going back there, and I want to show you some love, and I want Hartford to get to know you, so that they know that you and I come as a package deal, and it's not just Reese on the radio, it's Rozan on the radio as well. So if you let me do that, I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Okay. No problem. Behind every successful man is a great woman telling you, you ain't nothing.
I think behind every great man is a really mean woman.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So, yeah, John said, make it Rozan cry. How sweet. I will pay for it later. Let's get to this real quick before we get up out of here. Shelby Steele, the documentary which we talked about, is What Killed Michael Brown. And for those of you who have, again, been living under a rock, Michael Brown was the young man who was shot and killed by Officer Darren Wilson in an altercation in a Ferguson, Missouri street after a robbery, a stealing of Swisher Sweets by Michael Brown. And in that altercation between Michael Brown and Darren Wilson had to shoot and kill Michael Brown, which, of course, led to a series of events. This was almost, I can say, honestly, I would say that this was when Black Lives Matter got into full swing, because it began under Trayvon Martin, but this event was huge. But the interesting part of this documentary is Shelby Steele going all the way back to the war on poverty. And there are two very, very good clips in this that I want to show you, but I don't want to give everything away. It's in about the middle part of the documentary. Let's play the first one. This one is talking about the advent of white guilt. And the advent of white guilt is, in essence, talking about how Lyndon Baines Johnson worked through the hearts and minds of Americans as to why they needed to support the war on poverty to help blacks in the country.
In the politically charged 60s, the great cultural shift that separated their generation from mine was the advent of white guilt, the very engine of post-60s liberalism.
For Negro poverty is not white poverty. Many of its causes and many of its cures are the same. There are differences. For the Negro, they are a constant reminder of oppression. For the white, they are a constant reminder of guilt.
So you watched a little bit of this before we play the other clip. Tell me some of the things that you gleaned from this documentary. Or, in fact, I'll go one step further.
Girl.
Girl. Give me some of the things that made you go, I've been told a lie. Because I think that you came away from this going, I believe this, and that's not true.
I had to watch for one of my paralegal classes, one of the documentaries about the death of Michael Brown. The one that we were told to watch was called Strange Fruit. Strange Fruit.
I do remember that.
Excuse me. I remember having to write up a whole paper, doing this whole thesis, and being absolutely surprised that people walked away from this not believing that this vile, atrocious, racist white man, just
gunned him down. Yeah.
Just for no reason other than he's this black kid in the neighborhood. Oh my God, this poor, disparaged kid with, so the contrast between Strange Fruit and what killed Michael Brown. I'm a huge proponent of research. I look up Shelby Steele. I'm like, who is this guy? He has a very credible history. He is educated by some very credible universities. He has some significant letters behind his name, or should have credible letters behind his name. He's a very educated, eloquent man. He's done a tremendous amount of work for the black community, and he loves black people, right? He loves black men, black women. He is about the uplifting of black people. His father had a third-grade education, was a truck driver in Chicago his entire life. Mom was a white woman who was a social worker. So he grew up biracial. So there was a lot that I'm learning about Shelby Steele, which sort of helped me understand his
point of view or point of reference.
I think his unbiased documenting of the murder or the death of Michael Brown.
Okay.
Right? I will say the one thing I disagreed with was what he said about George Floyd. I think that was before evidence came out. However, I digress. He talks about East St. Louis being the poorest black community in the entire country, and a braggadocio about that. Like, people are proud to say, I come from the poorest black community in the entire country. And I did say this to you, and I will say this every opportunity I get. They are still living in better conditions than a lot of natives on a reservation. Yeah. They have education, they have running water, they have electricity. That's just a small little side note. This is someplace that people are proud of being, right? They are proud of being poor and black and uneducated and disadvantaged. This is
the nobility of poverty.
Right. I mean, that was fascinating to me because that's not anything. I grew up poor. I grew up, I moved out of, I left home at 17. I've been on my own since 17. I had my first ever job working at McDonald's at 14. So I'm not opposed to hard work. I know what it's like to be on my own trying to make it. So I could never understand the desire to remain in substandard conditions. Like, it was never going to be good enough for Rozan, but I digress.
I learned.
This one I thought was really great. This quote is that the government that oppressed us yesterday will now be the engineers of our uplifting. That's what the whole welfare system is about. That's what building of Pruitt-Igoe was all about. They tore down people's homes.
Yes.
Black families who had jobs.
Stay on this. Don't go off. These were black families who owned their homes.
They purchased their homes. They moved to St. Louis when a decade earlier in the 50s, the poverty rate was something like 58%. Within a decade, they had cut that in half.
That's right.
They learned trades. They employed themselves. They spent the money in their own communities.
And this is before
whitey steps, excuse my language, this is before the white folks step in and say,
Right,
we got to help the poor Negro.
Right.
They so disenfranchised.
So that's what I'm saying. Before the intervention of government subsidies, before the intervention of the war on poverty, that they turned it from the 50s.
People were making a way.
Right. From 50s until the 60s, they had actually dropped the unemployment rate, the poverty rate 50% on its own in a decade. In a decade. Again, without government intervention.
Right. I liken it to a child learning how to walk.
Yeah, very true.
If you never let the child stand on their own, they never learn to walk, right? So finding out that the LBJ's administration came in, confiscated the land from these black families to put up a ghetto high-rise. I mean, that was absolutely disturbing. And what makes it worse is a decade later, poverty had doubled from the original starting point. So they were at like 50-something%, and at the end of, or at the advent of this Pruitt-Igoe, I can't remember that name.
Pruitt-Igoe, yeah.
It was something like 86% poverty. And then there were drugs, and girls were being schooled on how to be prostitutes, and nobody's going to school. And then he talks about going into the community as a black kid from Chicago. He said, and this was the best quote, he said, I was coming from a community that didn't care about me as a black man. I was left to my own devices to make my own success. And then I come into this community where my blackness was suddenly everything, the only thing that mattered.
Yeah.
And now I'm here trying to help these black kids get out of this poverty, and nobody's showing up.
Yeah, they had little workshops that they were asking these kids to come to.
All kinds of amazing opportunities. And Shelby Steele even says, it's like, even as a kid who grew up in, I didn't realize I was poor. He said, but even growing up, I would have jumped at these opportunities. These kids were not showing up.
And this is post-60s.
This is in the 60s. This is in the 1960s. And one of his cohorts said, he meets with his students once a month because they learn more in the streets than they do from these books.
Oh. We have so much more to get to on this, but it's the end of the show, and we got a weekend to come on. We will be back here on Monday, regardless, for Memorial Day, so you can expect us here with that. Thank you, Rozan. Say goodbye to everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your mind. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the radio. She is Rozan on the radio. You have a great weekend, a great Memorial Day. Don't forget to check out the Sunday show. If I'm understanding my contract, I think I still have to do a Sunday show. But anyway, we'll figure it out. We love you guys. You guys stay out of trouble. Jason Caterina's got weather. And there he is. And Mark Christopher is in the VPS Traffic Center. I know that song.
Stevie Wonder. Songs in the key of life.
Yeah, no doubt. Have a great weekend, Mark.
You too, Reese. Thanks. We'll see you Monday. If you are heading into Hartford right now, westbound.
All right, gang.
All
right. It worked out. I wanted to see what it would be like to have her on a little longer. That worked out. Friday's
Yeah.
a slow news day. So.
Yeah. How she feel?
How do you feel, Rozan?
We had an
I have
accident.
a- I
was in
mean,
the left lane. Looks
I was
like they
having a
moved that
conversation with
out of
you,
the
so,
way.
I mean,
delays,
it doesn't really
33
seem
down
like
to
it was
32
anything
A and
different
B.
from.
Yeah, she was in the motherfucking pocket like an 8-ball today.
All right.
Let's go.
And I was censoring and tamping down.
Middletown, that looks good now.
That's in real life.
I'm glad. Well, there you go. The producer said it was good, so that's all I need to hear. We'll see you on Monday, boss man. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Y'all enjoy y'all
Thank
time.
You got it, man. You too.
Slowing in Cheshire, 26 up to the mix map.
Well, I guess that's a good sign from Roland. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for, by the way, and I truly do mean that from the bottom of my heart. She is my everything. It's not like you don't know that. But thank you guys for welcoming her into this fold and into this new journey that I am embarking on. This means everything to me. She means everything to me. So I want to thank every one of you for being so kind to my wife. You never have to, but you do anyway. No, they don't have to.
They're not required to.
They're not required to. So, and showing their love and seeing it in the comments is a great deal. So, thank you all. We really appreciate that. We will see you on Monday, I promise. And more news and more views. And like I said, we will be there in August. We are officially moving there. And so we'll tell you. Thank you, Stevie V. Stevie C said, no need to thank us. Well, it's the right thing to do. So
Hey, you guys have a safe and happy. Oh, I'm not happy. Have a safe Memorial Day. Remember to thank a veteran, hug a veteran. Cool.
Love you, honey.
Love you, babe.
All right. I will see you guys later.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.